Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a very important show today. You know, at DotCom Magazine, we interview so many leaders in their respective space. We love bringing top-notch talent on the show all the time. And people reach out to us. They say, Jake, listen, we have a startup, we have a business, we have a small to medium-sized business, but there's one thing that's just not working for us very well right now, and that's the numbers. So, of course, when people reached out to me and they said, hey, we want to learn more about bookkeeping and the numbers and how to get things straight, especially as a startup, we reached out to the person I call the Queen of Numbers. Her name is Miss Jennifer Henderson, and she is the CEO of Jengar Bookkeeping Solutions. She knows it. She knows how to do it. She walks the walk and talks the talk. I'm so happy to have her on the show. Jennifer, welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you very much, Jacob, and I'm so glad to be here. It's my pleasure.
All right, Jennifer, let's go. Let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet and tell us about Jengar Bookkeeping. Then I have so many questions for you.
Okay, Jengar Bookkeeping Solutions was started from a humble beginning. I have been in the accounting space for over 20 years. As a child, I really was fascinated with numbers. My late grandmother would call me her little accountant. So I'm always fascinated with numbers. And so I decided to pursue that career through high school and then the professional studies. So I currently am a chartered certified accountant. I also hold a master's in professional accountancy, and I'm currently pursuing the course of enrolled agent, so I can represent person at the highest level at IRS. And I'm also, I do not stop there. I'm also an insurance agent. So I'm a company that captures the whole entire financial scape. So that's Jengar Bookkeeping Solutions in a nutshell. The numbers queen ensure that your numbers are in order for tax purposes and for financial opportunities.
All right, let's talk about it, the numbers queen. So let's say somebody calls you at Jengar, they're a startup or a small company. What does that conversation sound like? How do you start getting into the numbers with them to make sure that their numbers are straight?
Well, first of all, I'm going to ask if you have an accounting process or accounting system in place, because that's the foundation. The numbers don't lie, but you need to have something to capture the numbers. I always say to persons, it don't have to be a sophisticated system. It could be a spreadsheet. Most of my clients now use QuickBooks, but you must have something in place to capture your numbers so you can get your report at a glance to see how your business is doing. So that's the first thing I will speak about.
Yeah, that's a great first conversation. And of course, when you get people coming to you, they've heard about Jengar, whether they saw you on a seminar or heard you talk somewhere or, heard about it online or saw your testimonials of the people that are coming to you. When people reach out to you, I mean, I hate to say it, but are their numbers kind of messed up when you get into them a little bit? How does it work for the startup companies?
Well, for a startup, your numbers really shouldn't be messy. You should be starting clean. But if you're messy, then, I know how to get you on track. As I said, I have over 20 years of experience. And I must say, I started as a cashier. That was my first job. And now you can see I am the proud owner and CEO for Jengar Bookkeeping Solutions. So I know everything about the numbers from start to finish. And that's what I ensure that I take you through to make sure you are comfortable with your numbers and you're making financial decisions on accurate numbers.
Yeah, that's great, Jennifer. And of course, for the startup founders that are just now starting their company, what kind of advice can you give them, Jennifer, to get it started right, get that bookkeeping and that accounting done right from the beginning?
First, I will say, get an accounting system. Have an accounting process, an accounting system in place. Secondly, ensure that you have an expert like myself to guide you. Because what I find out, most times that small business owners and startups, they try to do this themselves. And that's where the books gets messy, because you're not an accountant. You do not understand the accounting laws, the tax laws. So you're just recording based on your limited knowledge. And as I said to persons, accounting and bookkeeping is more than just entering information in a software, entering information in a spreadsheet. You need to understand the category of expenses, the category of incomes, and also to understand the accounting laws and tax laws so that you can accurately record your information.
Yeah, I love it so much. And of course, behind you, you've got your famous quote, knowing your numbers means knowing your business. When did you come up with that? Because that's a great way to look at business.
Exactly, because, you know, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. I am a favorite supporter of Shark Tank. And, you know, Kevin is the numbers guru. And when you go in front of Kevin, you need to know your numbers. So first he's going to ask you, what is your revenue for the last 4 years, what your requisition cost. So if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And, you know, that is what I teach to my clients. I reiterate that, yes, you have a business, but unless you know your numbers, you don't know what your business is doing.
Yeah, that's great. And of course, you're referring to Mr. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. And I think, as you know, we recently interviewed Mr. Robbie Cabral, who did a big deal with Mr. Wonderful that went very, very well. He's our favorite shark here at the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series as well. So let's talk about it, because you've got this very interesting approach, Jennifer. You have these packages that you have on your website that no matter if you're a small company, a startup, a big company, a huge company, you can select a particular package to meet your financial bookkeeping needs. So let's talk about that.
Right. So I have packages that cater for anyone. And on my website, it also states that it can customize based on your business need. So a startup may not need everything that is in the startup, but I can customize it to meet your need. So you have a startup package, you have a standard package, you have a deluxe package, and you have a premium package. I also have consultancy packages because I also work with large businesses as well that may just have like small assignments. You may need someone to come and audit your books, to look on your financials, to analyze your financials, to do some schedules, to do some reconciliations. I also offer that as well. So I provide services from start to finish. So if you are just starting out or you are in the business a long time ago and need someone to just have a fresh eye on what's happening in your business, I offer that as well. I review your processes, your accounting processes. I look on your accounting system, your accounting structure, because sometimes you start a business using a specific system, but at some point you outgrow that system. So you need to get something else that can manage what you are doing. So I look at that to see, is it the best system? Look on your processes to see if you have segregation of duties. You don't have one person doing everything from start to finish, because that's where you will have fraud, you will have misappropriation of funds. So I looked on the entire accounting process of your business. Yeah,
I love it so much, Jennifer. And one thing that you do that you're really known for is you like to have these meetings, whether they're weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings or monthly meetings, of course, depending on the package. Where did you learn that from, Jennifer? Where did you learn that it was so important to actually talk to your clients and talk to your customers and not just deal with the numbers through internet chat or, you know, Gmail or email or phone? You like actually getting on calls and talking, most likely on Zoom, to your customers. Where did that come from?
Well, this comes out of how my whole journey as an accountant, because as I said, I started as a cashier and reached all the way up. So I was the accounting manager. I was the financial controller of a group of companies. So I know the importance of having meetings. I know the importance of explaining the numbers. And this is something that I have to do monthly to management, to the board, to explain what the numbers mean, because having the numbers is one thing, but do you understand what the numbers mean? And that's a big problem with a lot of these entrepreneurs. Yes, they know that they are making money, they are making sales, all these sales and stuff, but what does it mean? What these numbers mean? I've spoken to person recently and did not understand. Yes, I see a financial statement, I see a profit and loss, but I do not know what it means. So getting the numbers, one thing, but you need to understand what the numbers mean, because the numbers tells the story of your company. It tells how well your company is doing, how bad your company is doing, what can be done better, what can be remains constant, or whatever changes need to be made. So having that discussion with my client is critical, and it does not only apply to one section, but it applies to everyone from startup to the highest package.
Yeah, I love it so much. A lot of people look at numbers and it doesn't tell a story, but I look at you, Jennifer, as someone that I would call a zeitgeist. I mean, you can get into the numbers, and from the numbers, you can formulate a story. And from that story, then you can tell your client what the story is based on their numbers, which is really great. Now,
correct.
You've got something that I love. It's called the cleanup catch-up service. I mean, that sounds like everybody needs that. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, as you speak, I have a client that I'm working on with that as well. So this can take different routes. So you have some entrepreneurs, they start it out themselves, so they mess these things up. So you have to go and clean up all these things. They are coded incorrectly and all of that. You have some persons who have bookkeepers or accountant that really do not understand what they are doing. So they are just entering numbers, as I said before, entering in a spreadsheet or entering a software, but they do not understand the basis of the business, how to categorize these expenses. And so you'll realize that a lot of things are not recorded properly. Then you'll get an audit from IRS, things not recorded properly. So that's how the cleanup work goes. And so I'll have to go back to see what needs to be reconciled, because another major thing for cleanup, a lot of companies do not understand the importance of reconciling your bank and your credit cards. Because if you don't reconcile those things, you do not know if the numbers are correct. If you're just pulling over information from QuickBooks, yes, that's good, but you need to have the statement to ensure that whatever comes over on the bank feed is matching on the bank statement. And that's what I'm going through right now with a client. Yeah, ensuring Jennifer, that everything is reconciled. So you clean up everything to make sure it's correct and go clean going forward in the future.
I love it. Go clean, go forward, go into the future. Now, one thing that you really understand very well are KPIs, these key performance indicators and metrics. And it's part of this zeitgeist that you have when you talk to your clients. How important is it to understand as a startup entrepreneur or a small to mid-sized business what the various metrics of your business are and what the KPIs are about your business?
Well, that's very important, because KPI it stands for key performance indicators. And this indicates to you how your business are doing in certain areas. What's your customer retention percentage? What's your debt ratio? What's your profit margin? What's your sales to expenses? What are your salary to your income? So these are things that you need to know. And if you don't know these things, yes, your company will look as if it's making money. But when you drill down in these KPIs, you may realize that it's not making money as much as you thought it would be. And also, another important area, these help you to identify if you have several income streams, because at the bottom line, it may seem profitable, but what is driving this revenue? What is driving these expenses? It could be a revenue stream that is not profitable, but because it's embedded in all the numbers, it looks as if it's profitable. But if you should pull that out and say, okay, let me just reassess and take this out, you'll realize your bottom line will improve. So analysis is very important. You must have your critical KPIs that you manage and monitor on a monthly basis.
Wow, that's great. And for the people watching the show, especially the startup entrepreneurs, rewind what Jennifer just said. I mean, it's almost like you just received a Harvard MBA in accounting from her. I mean, really, really interesting. Now, one thing, when we talk to accountants, sometimes it's kind of dry. But one thing that you stand out way above the rest is you have this belief that you want to provide a wow. You want to provide this excellent customer service to your clients, not only talk about the numbers, but have the numbers tell a story. Where did this idea for your business at Jengar come up that you wanted to give this big punch to your clients instead of just being a basic accounting firm?
Well, I want to stand out. I want to be unique. I just don't want to be an accountant or a bookkeeper, but I classify myself as a numbers queen, a bookkeeper and accountant extraordinaire. So I go above and beyond. An ordinary bookkeeper is just entering numbers in a system. I am telling you and using your numbers to tell a story about your business. So I'll explain what the numbers mean, not just entering the information, but explain what the numbers mean. And that's why I have monthly meetings. And depends on the number of transactions and the package that you have, it might be bi-weekly. So just for you to keep abreast of what's going on, if there's anything new in the industry, I'll explain that. If there's any new process in your business that you want to implement and you need my guidance in terms of the accounting aspect, I'm there for you. So I'm there to ensure that you win. I'm there to ensure that you succeed.
I love it. Wow. I tell you, anybody watching the show that needs help, reach out to Jennifer, the queen of numbers. This is fantastic. Now, Jennifer, let's take our conversation and turn it to entrepreneurship, because you're a great entrepreneur. You've built this business. For the younger entrepreneurs watching the show who are hitting a roadblock, maybe they're hitting a pothole in the road, maybe they're hitting a wall, they freeze in the frame, they don't know what to do. What kind of advice can you give based on your experience to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show about how to get through those roadblocks?
I will say to them, don't give up. You have a dream, believe in your dream. Believe in your vision. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the distractors, but keep focus on your dream. Whatever you believe in, focus on that. Yes, you will have roadblocks. I had several roadblocks. There were times I felt as if, boy, I'm not going on, but I have a dream and I know my goal and I know my passion is to help entrepreneurs. And so I push above those obstacles. I push above those roadblocks and knowing that at the end, I'm going to succeed. And here I am today. Wow. As a former athlete, you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself for the unexpected. Yes, sometimes you may not win a race, but that does not stop you from training because you have several other races to win. So you keep pushing, keep exercising, keep building yourself, get yourself out there, get your brand, let people know about you, stand out. And if you stand out, you will succeed. Let me just share an example. I've been on LinkedIn for a while, and sometimes I post stuff, you're not getting any interaction and all of that. And a client, reached out to me and said, I just love what you're doing. Your content is awesome. You just know exactly what you're doing. And I said, but you have never responded. You have never engaged on my post. She said to me, I've been watching. I have been watching. Sometimes you're doing things, you're not getting the result that you want, but just remember, keep doing it because someone is watching you and you are standing out and that person is coming to you that you can help them to succeed. So press on, keep going, keep pushing, keep dreaming, and put your dream will be a reality. Just keep working at it.
I love it. I can see that being the name of your next book. Keep pushing. For sure. Now, Jennifer, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time. You're helping so many companies with their bookkeeping solutions, but I have a couple of geeky questions for you that came through from my viewers. What part of the financial statement is the one that is most misunderstood? Is it the income statement? Is it the balance sheet? Which part is really the one when you get on the phone with an entrepreneur, you're surprised that they don't understand the way it works?
Well, I would say the profit and loss statement, both of them, but I think profit and loss stand out more because they are just looking on the bottom line. Yes, I'm making profit, or yes, I'm making sales, but they do not understand what is driving the sales, what is driving the expenses. And that goes down when you drill down, you do your analysis, you do your KPIs, because the same way I mentioned that you will have revenues that are not benefiting your company, but they're embedded a loss in the numbers, you have expenses that can be eliminated, expenses that can be reduced, expenses that can be deferred. So a lot of times they don't understand the financial statement. They don't understand the balance sheet. Yes, they will do a balance sheet and take it to their tax preparer, or if they are requesting a loan, but do they understand what it means?
Yeah.
And the P&L tells you the story of your company, the performance. How is the business doing? Is it doing good? Is there ways to improve? Is there some things you need to eliminate?
Yeah, that's the DNA of a company. Of course, the Queen of Numbers understands DNA very, very well, Jennifer. Listen, before I let you go today, I wanted to find out a little bit about your why, because, you know, you're very energetic, but you're also very, very in tune with the numbers. So when you wake up in the morning, what gets Jennifer Henderson going as an entrepreneur? What gets that pep in your step? What's the thing that drives you so that our entrepreneurs can learn from another entrepreneur about the driving focus that makes Jennifer work and get going in the morning?
My why is my passion for what I do. I love what I do. I love the numbers, and I love to help persons win. I love to help persons succeed to create financial freedom. Build that legacy in your business for your generation. Your business stand out because guess what? You understand the financial aspect of your business. And that's my passion. That's my goal. That's what, you know, give me that pep in my step in the morning when I can see that I help entrepreneurs to build an accounting system, build a process, and they're winning, they're succeeding in years and years to come.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great way to take a look at it. And lastly, when you speak to so many entrepreneurs that reach out to you, Jennifer, that want your help and want your assistance, what is it about their team that you're able to discover about their company? Do you find that the best companies have the best teams, and the best sort of accounting systems also have the best teams behind it? What's the key about having a great team in business?
Well, just like your accounting system is critical, your team is critical. If you don't have a team that believes in you, believe in your dream, then you don't have a business. Because you cannot be pulling one area and the team pulling another. It has to be synchronized. You have to believe in what your goals are. Have the same vision. And that is why as entrepreneurs, your vision must be pushed down to your team. They must understand clearly how they play the part in accomplishing your vision. That must be clear to your team. And if they understand that, you don't have to push, you don't have to pull, because they understand the team, they understand the vision, and they are running with it, and they will do whatever they can to succeed. And another thing, you must value your employees. You must be not only an entrepreneur, but someone who can relate to your employees at different levels. Some persons are business owner and they are way up here, so the employee cannot reach them. But you have to be able to come down to your employees' level to understand and let them feel appreciated, knowing that it's not all about the work, but you care about their welfare.
Wow, I love it so much. It's such sage advice. And of course, when someone hires Jengar, not only do they get the Queen of Numbers, but they get all of this interesting background and experience and this vision that Jennifer has about business, who can unwind the numbers and then make those numbers tell a story in a meaningful way for the entrepreneurs to be able to take action on that story to improve their business. Jennifer, this has been a remarkable interview. I'm so excited and pepped up just talking to you. I'm going to rewind the interview again right now just so I can get myself even further motivated, but this is great. Jennifer, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I mean, Jengar Bookkeeping, everybody's talking about it. You do such a great job, and I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today. This has been wonderful.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure for me, and I'm happy that I can share, my knowledge, my expertise with the world to tell them that, listen, the numbers tells your story, and knowing your numbers means knowing your business.